Yeah, what up, beaches? What's up, beach? What? Yeah. Gains. Swole. Gains. Swole. Making sick fucking gains. Making sick fucking gains. What? You. What? Yeah. Gia. People still celebrate Easter? People still do that? I always forget it's Easter until someone mentions it. All I know is that's episode 2 of Game of Thrones. That's all that matters. That's a holiday in itself. Sunday Game of Thrones Day. Oh, it is 420. How shameful of me, I forgot. I'll have a sip of coffee for that. Oh shit. Everyone's gonna be high as fuck today, huh? Unless you're a pussy, every day's 420. Gotta be high all the time. Fucking stoner, man. You're a stoner, bro. I'm high on coffee. I'm high on the real THC. The coffee. The C, the coffee. There's another food holiday for sure. I'm not religious. It's all a good story, in my opinion. As long as it makes you a better person, good for it. Go for it. Believe what you want, just don't push your bullshit on me. Big Mike. Sick gains. Making all those sick and fucking gains. Sick and fucking gains. Sick and Your gym is closed because of Easter. I will be so fucking pissed. I would be so pissed if it better not be. Usually because my area is so mixed between like different belief systems that they usually just have limited hours. I understand limited hours. I still think it's stupid. I think any kind of limited hours this day and age is pretty dumb. Like, find someone else to work the desk or find someone, like, just, okay, go believe what you want, but I want to get my pump on. believing something should have nothing to do with you taking care of your fucking health. It's 2019. We can get over this closing shit, I think. What's up, John? Where you been? Where you been, bruh? What up, dude? What up, Dudosaurus? Here we go. Why don't you come on over here, Muscly? I'm gonna make some sick fucking guys.
The birds are chirping. The bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Yeah. Making gains. Testing. Testicles. Welcome everyone to episode 1079 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beercast, broadcast, gamecast, mancast, pimpcast, sleazecast, and slaycast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Welcome to 1079. Unfuck your shoulders, ya boosh. I hope you got your post notifications on, because if you do, you know I'm live. If you don't know I'm live, and shame on you. Make sure to turn on your post notifications specifically for, I guess, daily awesomeness, but also tomorrow is Sunday Fun Day, Game of Thrones Day Q&A. So we are going to do live Q&A, and what I've done in the past is post a question, and you can drop comments in the post, in the feed, and everything like that. No more, at least not for now. I want you to show up live, and I'm going to take as many live questions as I possibly can, because tended to go and answer all those questions, and then people live weren't getting their question answered. So treats. It's going to benefit you to be there live. So Daily Swole Club members will get your questions answered primarily first, dibs, and then we will get into the live questions ASA to the motherfucking P. So make sure you turn on your post notes for that. And we can talk Game of Thrones, we can talk whatever, but tomorrow, episode 1080. My gym rocks. They never raise rates. They just let us vote. Whoa, you have like a democratic gym. We're talking about gyms being closed for Easter, and some people are saying, well, it's 420, so I guess everyone's high as fuck right now. Is that the case? And I was saying in the intro screen, I was saying, what the fuck is a gym doing? I think in 2019, we can get past the, we're closed for a holiday. Can't you find someone else? Can't you find someone else to run your gym or any kind of store? I don't think there should be any kind of cancellations anymore or any kind of closures. I think we should be past that as a society. Like, you could believe what you want to believe, but if I want to go shopping on this day, I want to go shopping. I mean, Amazon fixed all that, thank goodness, which is amazing. The same day delivery. How many of you are getting same day delivery? How many of you are getting same day delivery with Amazon? It's insane. I ordered shit before like 10 o'clock yesterday, and it showed up outside my door in the evening. It's amazing. Same day is fucking absurd. What's funny is in 5 years, if something gets delivered, think about this, in 5 years, if something doesn't come the same day, you're going to get pissed. Or if it doesn't come like within a day or two, you are going to be furious. You're going to be pissed. Like, it's going to be something where like, no, you're going to go to another site and you're going to find someone else that will deliver, because everyone else has to try to keep up with Amazon now. You're going to be angry. You are going to make decisions based on whether or not you get it the fucking same day. It's crazy. It's crazy. I literally tapped a few buttons and then it showed up in a box outside my door. Ridiculous. That's the battle. And I'll start off this episode by encouraging everyone to start, no joke, start a meditation practice yesterday. Start a meditation practice, because you have to learn some fucking patience. When it comes to getting results and fitness and training and everything, the shit that really does matter, it takes time and patience. But everything else is happening so fast, we're losing connection with actually waiting for anything. And as tempting, sometimes I actually do this on purpose. Sometimes I choose, okay, I'll save $20 and wait a few days rather than get it the next day, just because I need to challenge my patience a little bit. I don't need everything right this fucking second. I don't need it right this fucking second. Plus, there's something beautiful to actually have excitement to look forward to. Oh, it's going to come in, or I'm going to get it delivered on this day. Sometimes you need it right away. I get that. But I ordered something that's coming in Tuesday, and I was like, actually, I kind of regret not getting it yesterday, or not getting the second day or the next day delivery. But I didn't want to spend a little bit extra money. I thought, I'll save a little money. And then, I'll get it on Tuesday or Monday, and now I'm like, ah, fuck. But now I'm forced to wait and just focus on other things. It's a skill. Patience is a skill. We just don't in the past, you were forced to have patience. If you wanted to get something delivered, you were waiting a few weeks, whether you liked it or not. Now, it's kind of like a choice. You have to choose patience. You have to focus on patience. You have to figure out where that balance is inside your brain that helps you justify and rationalize things and allow that to just leave me alone for a little bit. You know, nothing bad's going to happen in a couple days. It's just good. It'll be fine. It'll come. It'll come. It'll come. But we're slowly losing that ability to rationalize and to compartmentalize and to get perspective on getting results in the gym and how long it actually takes. How long have you been training? Let's do that. Let's take a little survey. Those of you that are watching live on YouTube, Facebook, IG, how long have you been training? And when I say how long, don't tell me like the first day you ever worked out when you were 12 years old, because the first time I ever lifted weights was when I was 13. But I didn't lift consistently probably until I was kind of like in like last year of high school, kind of leaving high school, going to college. So I would say that's when I really got like into it. I wasn't doing it right. When I really got serious, when I truly got serious, okay, I learned like, okay, this is the right approach. This is what I want. This is what I'm going to do, was the summer after. I was doing it consistently freshman year of college, but I was doing it wrong. And then I'm like, this doesn't fucking work. And I can tell that story because that's a real story that will impact a lot of people that are trying to build muscle. And you have to, the effort and recognizing what does and what doesn't work, and then investing your time into getting the right information and working hard to make that progress. And that was the summer after freshman year. So that was like 2002 for me. It's not the first time I started lifting. So it's been like 17, 18 years really when I started, and then got really serious in that first year or two. 6 years consistently. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. That's good. That's cool, man. That's cool, man. That's cool. Arm nips. Oh yeah, on the board behind me it says arm nips because we're talking shoulders today. And those are kind of like the nipples of the arm. Arm breasts are the biceps, like the arm titties, biceps and triceps, right? Your arm tits. Arm nips. I'm like, where would the nips be? Not the fingers? That's weird. You have nips on your fingers. So I figured the shoulders are the arm nips. Whatever. Don't judge me. Every time I go to the board, I'm like, what am I going to put on this fucking thing today? Arm nips. What's going to confuse people slightly? Arm nips. That seems like something that would easily confuse many people. Been training for 6 months. Good for you. Noobs. Noobs in the house. Fantastic. Powerlifting, 18 years, 2-year break, and now back 8 months. What are you doing now, Shane? Are you still doing power? Are you like banged up from powerlifting, so now your approach has changed? You're here, so I'm assuming you're focusing more on mobility and doing other things because powerlifting takes its toll. And I don't talk about powerlifting, so I'm assuming you're here because of other content. There are a lot of people here that have been lifting heavy or had those. You start seeing that more and more because after all those years of just smashing your body and putting that much strain, you have those injuries, you have those things that restrict you from continuing or being consistent, and then you have to make amends, you have to fix, you have to repair things. Got serious about 2 months ago, 5 years of corrections on form, starting to focus. Started lifting a year ago, 10 years. A bit over a decade, a year and a half. We got to see, that's where this audience is really, that's where this audience and the Swolenormous Nation shines. You got so much breadth of experience. There's so much difference when you have 20 years versus 6 months. It's just a completely different. Now you can see when I do the podcast, what do we talk about? It's got to relate to a lot of people. So a lot of these topics are very common denominator type things, but they can help a lot of people, especially in your journey. You know, every time you're in a different place in your life, these episodes are going to trigger something different. It's going to hit you a different way. Let's see here. Tailor-made treats. I need to do more yoga now that my body is in the shape for it. Not true. You're always in shape for yoga. You don't need to be in shape for yoga. You do yoga to improve everything, mind, body, and soul. So you're always ready for yoga. Always ready for yoga. I've been training 3 years, added yoga 2 hours ago. Nice. 2 hours ago. Or was that 2 years ago? How do you turn your brain off enough to meditate? You don't. That's the difference. People think you turn your brain off. You don't. You just use your brain differently. Your brain never turns off. That's why you need to meditate. Your brain never turns off. Meditation is not about thinking about nothing. Meditation is not turning your brain off. Meditation is learning how to control your brain. It's getting a better, literally, it's just controlling how your brain functions and controlling how your thoughts are observed and controlling how you perceive things in your consciousness. So it's training, it's brain training. You could think of it like that. You're not doing crossword puzzles. It's a different type of brain training. And that's why people need it, because it's always great to meditate. But now, especially when you have these cellular devices where you have a screen that like flashes and changes, and then you have TVs and everything just gives you information nonstop, you need to learn how to harness all that. So just like I was talking about patience at the beginning of the episode, you need to be able to control what goes on in your brain, because your brain is everything. Everything is everything. Sounds, touch, thoughts, it's all in the same place. You think they're different, but they're not. Like when you feel something, you still feel it up in your brain. It's still up here. It's still being perceived in your consciousness. So it's all one circle, essentially. Everything's coming within your realm, within your circle of consciousness. So it's about how you manage that and how you observe that and how you, it's a practice like anything else. And it's very challenging because most people never even think about this. They just observe and they're very reactive. And when things happen in your life, you just respond to it. And that's bad because then you're at the mercy. You're not in control. And the only thing that you're in control of, really, the only thing that you are in control of is your brain, is what you think and how you feel. Not saying physically, but how you feel about things, your perception. And if you think you're having a good day, you're having a great day. If you think you're having a bad day, you're having a bad day. If you can control and understand and have perspective on your own thoughts, it changes everything. So those of you that have been meditating, you can drop that in the comments below with your experience on that. And there are great apps online. You can go to the App Store and type in meditation, pick one of your choice. I'm not even going to, there are so many, and they're all going to be a little bit different, but generally the same. The approach to meditation is pretty universal, but there's some different subtleties and different kind of, it's like training programs. It's like training and starting, okay, I'm going to do 3 days a week, or I'm going to do total body, or I'm going to do a split, I'm going to do powerlifting, there are a lot of different ways you can do this, and there's different approaches and skills and things that you will find along the way. So just like there's different types of yoga, there are different types of meditation, different lengths, and it's a practice. You have to get better at it. It's not a matter of how long you do it. A lot of the apps will start you off with 5, 10, 15 minutes. It's a very short period of time, but if you do it first thing in your day and you make it a priority every single day, you'll get better like anything else. If you do yoga every day, you'll improve mobility. If you strength train regularly, you will build muscle, you'll build coordination. What else? Think about anything else. You play the piano, guitar, you'll get better. It's a practice. Everything is practice. Everything is practice and experience. Mike, I started using the Headspace app you suggested. I'm sleeping a lot better. That's a great one to start. That's a great one. Yeah, guided meditation. And even for advanced, guided meditation's great. It's just whatever works for you. Some people always like guided meditation. I think everyone should start with guided meditation. That's because most people don't understand, and I didn't either. I'm not talking about like, I know meditation. You don't. When I started, I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just, okay, sit there. A lot of people think that. A lot of people think you sit there and don't think. Impossible. Impossible. You can't not think. Your brain never stops thinking because your brain is always reacting, receiving. Your body, it never stops. It never stops. And that's a completely wrong way of thinking about it. So if you try to sit there and not think, you're going to be extremely frustrated and be like, man, this sucks. That's not the point. You don't try to meditate. You don't try to meditate. You just learn how to observe and how to organize and how to notice and how to reflect more. It's just understanding your consciousness and how your brain works and how your overall system works and how you receive information, how you perceive information, where it comes from, where it goes. You see more, pretty much more for what it is. Yeah, mindfulness is another way to say it. You're more mindful. You're more aware of when you have feelings. If you have anger or you have frustration, you start to observe, hey, that's frustration. Okay, bye, frustration. And you just start recognizing things when they pop up. It's like being literally third party in your own brain. You're observing what your brain is doing rather than being in the middle of it. So it's kind of a good analogy would be you're standing in a crowded room, like you're just, surrounded by people and everyone's pushing and bumping into you, as opposed to, let's say you're standing up on a balcony looking down at all the people bumping into each other. That's like what meditation is. You're still in the same room, but you're observing it for what it is rather than being in the fucking middle of it. Reminds me of part of my DBT class. What's that? What's DBT? Started meditating at 16. It's been one of the most useful things I've ever done. Nice. Mindfulness is the touchstone. Good phrase. To literally everything in life. Any type of gains don't mean shit until you're in the right state with your mind. Agreed? DBT. What is DBT? DBT is the shit. I introduced it in my school for the kids. DBT. It sounds like a WWE move. Oh, he comes in with the DBT. Boom! 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. Papa Swole with the DBT. Or DDT. Isn't DDT? Wasn't that spray? Chemical spray. Dialectical behavioral therapy. Ooh, big words. Big words. Rami Michael, you are the reason I started working out again. Lost 30 pounds already. You speak raw, unfiltered truth. Love me some Papa Swolio. Respect, man. Good for you. How long did it take you to lose 30 pounds? That's fantastic. DMT. Everything's got T's and D's and B's and M's and it's just, there's so many analogies. You could have been like, oh, it's a new sandwich over at Subway. Oh, the DBT. Got it. It's got dill, it's got bologna and tomatoes. Ooh. The dill, bologna, and tomato sandwich. Now it's Subway. Eat fresh. Ugh. Rami, let's see, TaylorMade. I'm 53 and recently lost 140 pounds getting shit done. Fuck yeah. I've been training 3 years, added yoga 2 hours. We talked about that one already. 8 months ago, I heard you say to get to the fucking gym. Been staying on the podcast the whole time, kept me focused. Second time live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I love it. Exercise tips on stubborn belly fat. You can't target belly fat. You can't target fat anywhere. So consistent weight training. I would focus more on your nutrition and environmental toxins, meditation, stress management, being super consistent, continuing to train, doing yoga, trying different things, yoga, Pilates, sauna, all those things. Just keep on practicing. I mean, of course, I don't know anything else that you're doing. Like any tips, I don't know if you're doing anything right. That's what's hard about those questions. I know today I said unfuck your shoulders. Who knows? Maybe we won't even get to that topic. I'll try. But, when it comes to what, for example, a question, how do I get rid of stubborn belly fat? Maybe nothing that you're doing. Maybe you're not doing anything right. So there are a lot of adjustments that you probably could do to what you're already doing. But at the same time, from just that question, there isn't an answer. It's based on, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know anything about your personal, and there's no way you can give me all the details I would need in the comments. But as long as you know, there's no way to target belly fat specifically. Found a local yoga studio. It's definitely outside my comfort zone at 330 pounds. Still struggle with self-confidence. That's fine. It's going to be your practice. You're going to practice and get better at it. You're going to get better with your self-confidence. You're going to get better at yoga. And if anyone's interested in doing yoga and you don't have access to a yoga studio, you can go to swolenormousx.com. We have a full yoga studio, Swoga classes, Swollen 7 mobility classes, all that stuff on swolenormousx.com. So there are other apps and there's YouTube videos and shit like that too. But for those of you that want it with Swolenormous, we have all the shit on the site. Yeah, totally cool. Looking forward to having you. Supercalifragilistic 777s. I'm glad you're here helping all of us. You're awesome. Getting ready to join Swole X soon. Looking forward to having you. Off the cuff DS. I like this. Well, sometimes I have the idea and I have like, that's actually what's part of what happens when we go live. And I'm thinking, I kind of go back and forth because when I go live, I stream to multiple platforms and I put the title in because it goes there. But I'm thinking that I might have the topic, but I might only update the topic afterwards. I might not put the title in there anymore. Because sometimes, I mean, a lot of times we'll get started with a conversation and I don't even want to talk about shoulders right now. We will. I'll stick to it. I'll stick to it for this episode, but I'm just putting it out there. I'm debating because, you know, we might be 15, 20 minutes in, but now I want to talk about all this shit. Sometimes it's just like it's what we're talking about right now. It's the conversation. That's what's unique about this podcast. It's a conversational podcast with me. You know, I don't mind having guests on. We do once in a while, but I like being live with you. I think there's so many podcasts where you have two people talking back and forth. It's like, all right, you're listening into their conversation. But fuck, I mean, if you don't care about what those two people have to say, and you get that sometimes if you listen to those podcasts, there's someone on the show and you're like, I don't fucking care about this person because the whole dynamic changes. But how many podcasts are there where you can fucking log in and be part of the conversation and be part of the podcast? I think that's cool. I think that's unique. And that's what's been developed since the beginning. It has always been super engaging and interactive. I don't know if there's anyone else that's doing that. I don't know if anyone else is doing anything that I'm doing like this with the daily interactive podcast. I don't know. I never even thought to look or ask, but I love this format. I don't know why more people don't. Not enough people go deep. They just want to tell you what they want you to hear. They don't really want to help. They don't really want to know what the pulse is or what's going on. But it helps that you're all commenting and talking. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to engage. Yeah, well, if it's ever quiet and no one's showing up or it's an off hour, I always got a topic. I always got something to talk about. You lucky podcast peeps. Okay, so let's get into today's episode. Let's get into today's topic, the main point. Been getting a bunch of questions, so let's shift the focus. Let's shift the focus to shoulders. How many of you have had a shoulder issue? Let's get this started. Let's see if we can make this contextual and keep the conversation going. But let's talk about the shoulders. So those of you that want to talk more about meditation, we'll do some more meditation episodes. It seems like today would be perfect for that. However, maybe it's because of the quote unquote holiday. I don't like the word holiday, but for those of you that are dealing with family, now is a perfect time to deal with meditation or to learn or to practice. You could be like, oh my God, I can't believe these people are in my house. Ah, yes. Just take a nice deep breath and relax. Nice and tall. Yes. And those of you that are in Swolenormous X, maybe that'll give you some. That was funny, but there's a lot of stuff in development in terms of meditation. A lot of things coming that we're working on behind the scenes. That's something I will say. Those of you that are Swolenormous X members, we had the Elimination Diet Masterclass this past Thursday. So it's still on the main page in the main Facebook page, the private page. So you can still access that in your announcements. You can also find that in your Masterclass section on swolenormousx.com, those of you that are members. And this week, the Masterclass will be on the next release for the kitchen. So we did the Elimination Diet this past Thursday. And then this coming week, the Masterclass, the date is probably going to be Thursday again, like it was last week, but that event hasn't been posted yet. But it will be on the new releases, the next updates to the kitchen. So it's going to be on all those breakdowns of the different eating, nutrition lifestyles. So we're going to go over things like keto. We're going to go over intermittent fasting. We're going to go over pescatarian, all those different eating styles. So there's major releases coming for the next masterclass. So just stay tuned for that. Welcome, Sean. Welcome. Fuck out my face while I balance these chakras. Fuck out my face. I love it. Oh, thank you, Mike. Thanks, bro. I'm going to read this because that means a lot. Mike, well, for those of you that don't know Mike, Mike's here all the time. Mike's been a long time member and part of the community. Not only just that, but always here live. So thank you, Mike. Truly, you're always here and engaging big time. Quote, let's see. Sometimes you play down how much you help people out. You actually changed my life a lot. I can't even tell you the quality of my life, how much better it is with no pain. Not to mention, fuck, you saved me probably $40,000 on surgeries. That's huge. And sometimes you blow it off like you help people out, but man, you actually change lives and save people. And that's huge. And you offer it for free every day. I'm thankful to have found you. Well, Mike, that means fucking everything, dude. I mean, I'm grateful that you found me too. You're thankful to find me. I'm thankful to have you. So I'm going to actually screenshot that because that's awesome. That's going to be, I might want to start taking these and start putting those on cards on my wall. That's what I should be doing. Putting like testimonials and these awesome messages from all of you. I still have some space. Still got some room. Thanks, brother. Ooh, first yoga class tomorrow. Ooh, nice. Okay, so get distracted. No, that's the thing. It's like, oh, we got distracted, but it's not like a bad distraction. It's a good distraction. That's the best one. What do you guys want to do? How about this? What do you guys want to do? You guys want to talk about shoulders today? You just want to keep on rolling with it? I do not. This is my fucking show. It's our show. I don't give a shit. Do you guys want to talk about shoulders? You want to just keep on bullshitting? Do you want to just keep on talking? What else? We could talk about shoulders today. Strict Dog Fit first yoga class tomorrow. Let's talk about shoulders, shall we? All right. Well, let's get at least some feedback. Let's just keep the conversation going. But thank you, brother. Thank you. I love my new shoulders. Well, let's talk about shoulders because actually we talk about yoga. People are asking about yoga. We talk about meditation. Let's talk about it's in the close area. We got the brain, right? We got the shoulders. How many of you? Everyone's like shoulders. Shut the fuck up, Papa Swole. Shut the fuck up. Stop rambling. Yeah. You help people out. Tell me about shoulders. Tell me about the fucking shoulders. Everyone's like, yeah, Mike, that's awesome. We love you too. We want to hear this guy talk about shoulders. Shut the fuck up, man. Talk about my delts. Well, we're not beating. No, that's the thing. We're never BSing. It's just taking topics. Tomorrow we got the Sunday Funday Q&A. So all right, we're getting the comments coming in. Don't forget, there's a little bit of a delay with the live chat on Facebook and stuff. When you're commenting, it doesn't pop up instantly. So Instagram's more instant. All right, so let's say, John, my shoulder clicks during yoga, no pain, but I've noticed it's less frequent now. Beautiful. We can talk about that in a second. And let's see. Shoulders, let's see. More spitballing. Well, we always spitball. Let's just keep the topic. Let's just veer it in the shoulder direction. I have impingement and pain shoulder soreness issues with my right. So one of the reasons why we get these shoulder injuries is because the way the shoulder is fundamentally designed, created. We have two different aspects of the shoulder. We have the girdle and the joint. You have the area where the muscles from the what's known as the axial skeleton, like from the ribs, from the actual center of the body, the core, that attach onto the scapula and move the shoulder blade around. Shoulder blade, scapula, same thing for those that aren't in the know. And then you have the shoulder joint. You have the place where the humerus, the upper arm, interacts with the clavicle and the scapula. So you have two different things. And this is actually the best fucking thing that could possibly have evolved with our shoulder joint. Because obviously, you know that your shoulder can do all sorts of things because the joint itself is a ball and socket. So you have a lot of range. You have a lot of things you can do with the shoulder. However, the issue with the shoulder is because whenever you have a joint that has a lot of mobility, you are going to lose stability. It's like a negative, balance. If you have more of one, you have less of the other. Tons of mobility, less stability. I think you can imagine that. You can imagine the more mobility. So if you have a pyramid, you turn it upside down, it's on a point. Wow, you can mobilize it, but it's not stable at all. It's going to fucking topple over. So when you have more mobility, you have less stability. When you have more stability, you have less mobility. So if you have something that's very stable and rigid, obviously it's not going to go too many places. So instead of having just one joint that works and just having the shoulder joint itself, the scapula, the clavicle, and the humerus, and just moving all over and doing everything, you're going to have a very, very unstable joint and you're going to have a lot of fucking injuries. There's a lot of risk. Now, when you add in the scapula, you add in that integration with the shoulder girdle. Now you're kind of offsetting the mobility to two joints rather than one, and you're allowing for more stability. You're mitigating that lack of stability. You're mitigating that mobility more by having two joints interact. So when you raise your arm up overhead, your scapula will rotate upwards. When you move your arm shoulder, your scapula rotates, it protracts and slides around the ribs a little bit, allowing you to move the shoulder forward. So you're getting action at two joints. So there's two places where things are supposed to interact. They work together. It's a symphony. It's harmonious. And we have these problems that arise because we lock shit in place. When we're locked in place and we don't move enough, when we don't practice yoga, when we don't do overhead things, when we're climbing trees when we're younger, we lose that mobility and our body adapts to being more stable. Sitting at a desk, sitting at a car, we lose that mobility. And as an effect of that, things like the scapula start getting, I'm just going to use extreme words, petrified. It gets stiff. You've probably heard of things like frozen shoulder and shit that, hardcore words, but it doesn't move the way it should. And then you have this lack of synchronization in many cases with the joint and the girdle, and they don't move properly. And you can have things that pull, things that tear, things that rub, and you get inflammation, you get pain, you get rotator, you get all these things that can occur because of your lack of movement, your imbalanced movement. You're doing things only to the front. You're not unraveling, you're not balancing out the joint. And if you think about the center of the shoulder, if you think about the humerus or the shoulder, let's say the shoulder in just a broad spectrum, we're just trying to keep it aligned. If you're doing stuff to the front all the time, it's going to slowly get aligned or misaligned towards the front. And when it's misaligned, and I'm just being very, very vague because this is complicated kinesiology, and if you can't visually picture this, it's not going to make any sense. So when you have a misalignment, you're going to have a decrease in certain spaces in the ability for ligaments, tendons, blood vessels, tissue to move, because there's stuff surrounding the shoulder joint. There's bones around, right? There are areas, there are things that can rub, that can hit. And when the shoulder is not aligned properly, you'll get extra rubbing. You'll lose clearance of certain areas around the shoulder, and that can cause what you probably feel as, an aching pain. You probably feel some rubbing, some inflammation. You might need to get a shot, or you think you need to get a shot. These are things that can, or you'll take ibuprofen or something like that, that will decrease the inflammation from that rubbing. What you really need to think about in terms of the shoulder, most of the issues that you have are because of weaknesses. And weaknesses lead to those imbalances. When you have a weakness, you have a corresponding tightness or an overstrength or an overuse. So it's not necessarily, you could have weak shoulders. You could not lift weights at all and still have an imbalance from weak to strong. And it's pretty much activated or deactivated. You have a misalignment. You have an imbalance in the strength, the length, all these different aspects of the joint. It's not aligned and balanced properly. It's like a scale. You want to put the same amount of stones on the left as the right. And we do everything to the front. No one's head turns around like a fucking owl. You can't look behind you. So you're not cooking behind you. You're not driving with your arms behind your back. So we do everything to the front. And in nature, if we were living in the jungle, we would be climbing trees. We would be doing things that require pulling. Most people, 99% of people, never pull shit of any real use. You don't pull things. You do everything to the front. Everything is to the front. You're driving. You're this. You're texting. You don't do anything to the back. So because of our society, because of our sudden inactivity in terms of evolution in the past 100 or so years, all of a sudden we are just dramatically less active than we ever have been in our entire existence. Now, all of a sudden, we have these major imbalances coming out because of this repetitive lack of movement. So what do you need to do? Well, those muscles that are not being worked, the lack of balance that we have on both sides of the joint, we have to activate them. We have to work those areas. Got a burp. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that was good. Oh, that needed to come out for a while. Coffee burps. You guys know. Come on. You know how it goes. So we need to activate those muscles on the back part. Okay. So the front is overworked. It's tight. We're all rounded in. You've seen those classic. Everyone's internally rotated and protracted. We need to, it's also called upper cross syndrome. It's different things. We also need to, and this will improve your posture. This will improve your posture. It'll decrease things, or it'll mitigate things like neck pain, shoulder pain, It could even help with things like back pain. And this can start with the ankles. This can start with the hips. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Your shoulder issues can be exacerbated or can even be triggered by your hips or your ankles or the immobility, like wearing heels, sitting down a lot. That actual position in your hips can affect how your upper body reacts and responds to those hip, ankle, and knee positions. And as a result, over the course of time, can create imbalances in the shoulders that cause rubbing and inflammation. This can happen over the course of months or years or decades. And then that's why all of a sudden, like, oh my God, my shoulder, my neck started hurting out of nowhere. I don't know what to do. And then what do? You start getting massages and you start getting work done on your neck, but that's just where you feel the pain. That's not where the pain is coming from. So you don't work on your hips. You don't activate your glutes. You don't do your shoulder exercise. You just get massages on your neck. It feels better for a couple hours. And the next day you feel tight again because you're not fixing the problem. And that's very, very common. You go and get a massage where you feel the tension, you feel the pain, but that's not what's causing it. And it just keeps on coming back and coming back. And so you have to keep on getting massages, but you're not fixing the problem. So we have to activate those muscles on the back. So which ones you want to activate? Rhomboids, middle and lower trapezius, muscles that help pull the shoulder blades back, kind of like those postural muscles, essentially. And you want to work the muscles on the back portion of the shoulder, those muscles that attach from the scapula to the humerus. You want to work the infraspinatus, that's a rotator cuff muscle. You want to work the teres minor, which is also a rotator cuff muscle. It's not a rotator cup. It's not a cup of rotators. It's a cuff. It's a cuff, like a cuff link. There are these muscles that attach from the scapula, that attach onto the head of the humerus, that rotate it, that spin it, that lift it, that provide those initial portions of motion and those subtle spins that help stabilize the shoulder and allow us to do and have the dexterity that the shoulder joint has evolved to provide. And you need to balance that out. You need to activate some of these because they don't get worked enough. So external rotations, doing that kind of motion with the bands, right? We put the pad under your shoulder and you've seen people do those bands with external rotations. You've seen people do stupid shit in the gym. They grab dumbbells, they go like this. All right. That's some stupid fucking shit. People are going to blow their fucking rotator cuff out. A lot of people do dumb stuff in the gym that they see on I don't know where the fuck they find this information, but they do some stupid shit that is not doing anything to help their shoulder joints. So those areas, the posterior rotator cuff, the muscles that are between your shoulder blades, and oftentimes you feel tension between your shoulder blades. You feel really, really tight, right? You feel really tight. I feel knotted up between my shoulder blades. Oftentimes you're not knotted up. You are actually too lengthened. You're too stretched. The muscles are pulling apart too much. So you feel neurologically, you feel like there's tension. You feel like it needs to be released. Quite the opposite. It needs to be strengthened. It needs to be tightened. It needs to be shortened. It's pulling apart too much, which gives you this perceived knot and tension. The last thing you want to do is get in there necessarily and inhibit it more. You want to activate it more. So things like prone cobra, the prone press are fantastic. Now, not all these exercises are things you want to start off with, because if you're already having issues, and let me make this perfectly clear, if you're already having issues, you're already having pain, you're already having inflammation, then you might need to do some other things because you don't want to exacerbate that existing inflammation. Some of you might have some tension. Some of you might have some irritation that you can jump into some of these exercises full steam. Some of you already have limitations because you have active inflammation. And when you have active inflammation, you don't necessarily want to exacerbate it, because when you have inflammation, there's swelling. And then because there's less space in the shoulder because of that swelling, there's more friction. And then it gets worse and worse. So you might have an issue at one point where it starts off, right? You have a little bit of pain, you move your arm a little bit. Oh, it kind of pinches. Oh, it hurts when I move like that. You don't do anything about it. You keep on going on with your life, the way you train. And then down the line, all of a sudden it starts hurting when you just move your arm an inch, and then you can't move your arm at all. And then it gets to the point where you can't fucking move your arm, period, because you just keep on exacerbating. And eventually then you just go and get a shot, and that doesn't really fix the fucking problem, because doctors, unfortunately, are not there to fix you. They're there to give you some kind of an anti-inflammatory medication, a shot, and send you on your way. Oh, let me just inject you with this and send you on your way. Or to a physical therapist where your insurance only covers 6 weeks of therapy, and then you're on your own, and then you don't know what the fuck to do. And then it comes back, big surprise. You go back to the doctor, get another shot, go back to therapy, and then boom, boom, boom. And they make so much money, and you don't get better, and you stay in pain. That's the thing. That's why you have to take control of your health. You have to take control of your health before you get fucking sick. Don't wait till you have a problem. Don't wait till you have a shoulder injury. You have to do this type of corrective. That's why I'm always pushing yoga, you fucking booshes. That's why I'm talking about yoga every fucking day. I'm not saying you have to do yoga every day, but that's why you should start practicing all this shit so you don't get injured, so you don't have this problem. You don't wait and do therapy after. Why would you wait to have an issue and then fix it? Fix it before you have a fucking problem. That's why I'm pushing it so adamantly all the time. That's why it's an integral part of all the programming inside Swolenormous X, because it's that important. What progress are you making if you're injured? What progress are you making with anything if you're hurt? I don't care if you have the most aggressive program and you're lifting the most weight ever. Great. When your shoulder pops next week, you're out for 6 months. How is that program working for you now? You're fucking yourself up. So it's integrating everything properly. And that's how you're going to get the most progress over the course of time. And you're not going to, the worst thing, I don't care when you have a physique, whether you have abs or not, whether you're at the goal weight or not for you, the worst thing you can be or experience is pain. I don't care what you look like. You have the best body in the fucking world. If you throw your back out and you have fucking pain, you're immobilized, the only thing you want is to not feel pain anymore. The only thing you want is to not feel pain. And then if you've ever had an extreme injury or something that really puts you out, how does your approach to training come back? You just don't want to get hurt again. That's your number one priority. It's no longer, hey, I want to get shredded. Hey, I want to get bigger. It's like, I do want those things, but number one, I don't want to get fucking hurt. I want to make sure that doesn't happen again. It's debilitating mentally and physically. It's miserable to get hurt. And that's one guarantee of you not making progress, is getting a setback where you can't do fucking physical activity. That's why you do the maintenance, and that's why you put in the work and the time to be proactive with your recovery. That's why everything I talk about with active recovery and being proactive with your recovery, that's why it's so important. Because if you take that active approach, you're not just sitting back passive waiting for things to get better. You take that active approach, you're going to be more consistent. You're going to get more results in the long term. Standing in line at Disney, getting swole in the ear hole. Hell yeah, on speaker. What up, Booshes? Anyone that's listening to this on the speaker, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Daily Swole Beaches. Yeah. Everyone's looking like, is that speaker talking to me? Is that legitimately a speaker talking to me? Yes, I'm talking to you. By the way, add 5 pounds to that bar, you puss. That was only for people in Brad's gym, by the way. John, I've dealt with shoulder pain and impingement that has led down my arm, elbow, and grip weak and sore too, for sure. And that's what's crazy about the shoulder pain and pain referrals. If you have, let's say, your supraspinatus, and that's a muscle that attaches from the top of the scapula, and it goes right into the top of the head of the humerus, but it goes under that little subacromial space, and it provides like the first, let me see if I got my numbers right, the first like 15 or 20 degrees of abduction, like at the beginning, it starts it off right there. When that gets injured, when you have like a little tweak or like a little, you start feeling that. You don't feel that here. It's not like, oh my God, my shoulder hurts, and you're grabbing your fucking trap, like where the muscle originates. Where do you feel it? Down here. You feel on the side of your arm. You might feel like a glowing pain here, or like a dull ache, or in your forearm. You feel it down your arm. So you grab like, oh my God, my shoulder hurt, and you're grabbing your arm like, what the fuck? And you're rubbing here. Hey, it's not coming from there. That's what's called a pain referral. You're not feeling, it's not coming from your brachialis. It's not coming from the side of your fucking arm. It's coming from up here. And that's why if you go to an orthopedist, they go like this. They go, oh, put your arm up here, resist me here, push here, put your arm like this, push against my hand, push here. They'll do those. I forget what those tests are called, but they do the manual muscle testing to feel like you might go like this. Oh, strong. And then, ow, it hurts. Then they know, okay, that muscle, they know where to look. They know, okay, it's probably this. Or then, okay, if it's that area and that one hurts, then they do a couple other tests and they feel, okay, that hurts more than that. It's this muscle. And they just fucking know. Of course, they have to do an MRI and stuff anyway, but they know where to look, and they know like what's likely the cause and what's likely the situation. The body is crazy with nerves and where you feel, and that's like perception. Perception's insane. Where you think you feel the pain isn't necessarily where the pain is being generated from. It's crazy. And that's what a lot of people don't know. You feel the pain in one spot. Well, what is causing that pain? And a lot of times it's an imbalance somewhere else. You can have chronic neck pain for years and it never gets better. You can have neck pain for years and it doesn't get better because of an old ankle injury. An old ankle injury, and I'll explain briefly, and then I'll take a couple more questions. We'll wrap this up and we'll go into more depth. Maybe tomorrow, tracking through your gait properly so you're not activating one of those glutes for full extension because your ankle is injured because you're kind of walking with a peg leg. Fine. You lose stability in your hips, then it might tighten up or imbalance your lats one side to the other. Your lats originate from the ilium, from the back of the pelvis and from the sides, blah, 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 and all that fascial connective tissue. Everything's connected pretty much. That's the whole concept behind the body, is everything's a system. The lats insert onto a few places, but also the inside portion of the arm, right? Internal rotation, but also when it's tight or when it's limiting or when it's imbalanced, it can arch the back more and cause some arching of the lower back. It can cause an imbalance with your hips. It can cause an imbalance with your lower back, which will in turn cause you, like Jenga, to round and adjust slightly, ever so slightly, right? This could be just fractions of a degree. And then you might be rounded. You might have a little bit more flexion in the upper body and the shoulders, protraction in the shoulders. And this could be subtle to the point where, you might not notice it, but what about 5 years down the road, you've been walking and moving and activating differently for 5 years. All of a sudden you start getting neck pain because that lat, that chain reaction has been pulling down your shoulder or rotating a different way. So you're twisting a different way. So your head's twisting a little bit different way. And over time, all of a sudden you start feeling really tight in one side of your neck because maybe you're getting ipsilateral rotation in your neck subtly over the course of 5 years. This is legit. This is what literally happens. This is why that neck pain just comes out of nowhere. Like, oh, my neck, I'm so tense. I'm so tight from work. Yeah. But of course there's like the other types of stress, right? Other types of things. And there's other types of stuff going on. There's your nutrition. There's your other training. What are you doing for training? There's your lifestyle. Are you sitting, everything gets compounded. But this is where those chronic pains that come from nowhere, who knows? And it's because you never really rehabbed that ankle sprain properly. You didn't do glute activation. You didn't get that full range back. So you've been walking differently for 10 years and you've been moving differently and sitting differently and talking differently and lifting differently. And you haven't truly balanced out your body. You don't practice yoga. That's why yoga is such a good thing to help keep you aligned, to help keep you straight. Because when you practice yoga, and anyone that practices yoga, you will know what I'm talking about. When you're doing a downward dog, once you practice, you will feel yourself shifting side to side. When you pedal it out, you'll feel one calf. Like you start becoming so physically in touch. Meditation, mentally in touch with your brain. Yoga, physically in touch with your body. You will know, and everyone has this. Like you do yoga, and if you practice regularly, you'd be like, oh, my right hip is really tight today. You'll do like a pose and your right hamstring on that side, you'd be like, oh, what the fuck? It just feels so much different than your left, but you're aware of this. So you might focus more on that and you keep on practicing and you notice when it starts getting better. You notice when one side rotates better, or when you do one stretch and wow, it's great. You could touch your fingers, and the other side, oh fuck, I can't even reach. Those are the reasons why you have issues, because of that, asymmetrical imbalance. And that's a huge thing because then you're rotating differently and there's constant tension. But that's why the yoga practice helps release that and helps realign the body. And that's a constant thing. And your body, everything that you do, there's so much chaos in your day. Everything is trying to pull you out of alignment because there's a lot of random shit. Okay? There's a lot of random shit. It's enough to go and be creating tension in the gym, but that's more symmetrical because you have like balanced bars and stuff like that. But when you had just walking down the street, carrying bags, carrying your kid, like whatever you're doing is chaos. So there's all these imbalances. Yoga helps create more of that balance. It helps reset the body and realign the body. That way you don't have these chronic things happening, or you're less likely. It helps mitigate those issues over time. Well, I'm glad you're liking this, Megan. We're not going to necessarily continue this. If you have questions tomorrow, we can do in the Q&A, but we'll talk more about it. And there's a bunch of, obviously we've done 1,000+ episodes, but there's been a bunch. If you want to go back into the archives, you can check out those on posture, on glute activation. There's a lot of these episodes on glute. I've been talking about glute activation for 3 years on the podcast. I think the second episode is about barefoot training. I get into that real early. Like right away, we started talking about all this stuff, but we'll keep on going. Should we go, good question, should we go 50-50? Should we go 50-50 on yoga and weight training? That's not what it's about. It's 100 on both. That's not the right way to think about it. It's not 50-50 where you're kind of, oh, half weights, half yoga. It should be 100% of both, but that doesn't mean 100%. That 100% doesn't mean you're doing both every day. 100% doesn't mean you're doing both every day. It just means that whatever you're scheduling and you're being consistent 100% on it. So the amount, like if you're talking about 3 days of this and 3 days of that, that depends on your schedule, depends on your weight training program, depends on what type of yoga you're practicing, how long, how often. If you're new to yoga, you're going to feel sore. You're going to get sore in different places that you've never felt before. So if you're just getting started, you want to give a little bit more recovery time just to feel and kind of learn. But once you get regular, and that's what a big thing is, when you first start practicing yoga, it feels like a workout. It is, but it isn't. If you do fucking crazy power yoga, yeah, it's a workout. But if you're really just practicing yoga for like a restorative practice, at the beginning, it's going to feel like work because you're activating all these stabilizers that have never worked in their fucking lives. But then it becomes, even when in poses where you feel like you're adding stress, like a downward dog, at the beginning, it's going to feel like fucking hard work. Your arms are going to give out. You're going to be tired and burning. After a while, that's going to be where you're relaxing. You just have to get used to it. You just have to practice it. Would yoga help with piriformis syndrome? 1,000%. Absolutely. So will foam rolling and myofascial release. Can you burn more calories lifting or cardio? I don't care. Who knows? Depends on how long you do it. Not the right way to think about your fitness. Doesn't matter how many calories you're burning. People worry about that. They like their little calculations. They like their little watch. Ooh, I burned 600 calories today. Who gives a shit? The fuck does that matter? Oh, you're asking, are you trolling me? Best way to burn belly fat? These are all like the troll questions, but they could be legit questions. And I'm not saying trolling in a bad way, but these are all like the basic ones that are just like, jabroni questions. Just not things you need to worry about. That has never mattered to me once. In my entire life, I have never once given the slightest fuck of how many calories I've burned in a workout ever. I've never calculated. I've never used any of those like, oh, I burned this much. It's a load of shit. It's not accurate. No, it's cool. No, I mean, that's what I was asking. Are you trolling me? Because those are like common questions that are asked like, hey man, how do I get abs? Hey man, how do I learn fat in my stomach? How do I lose this? Those are like general questions that I can't answer like specifically with like from a vague standpoint. There's no good way to burn belly fat aside from doing everything. There's no way to spot reduce. Why does my neck hurt this morning? No idea. Sean, broke pelvis in multiple places and I have screws to fix it. Never done yoga, not sure if I can bend like that. I'll tell you what, you will bend the way you can bend. And yoga will help you get the most out of your body that you can. And you don't force it, you just do what you can do. For someone like yourself, it's even more important to do yoga because people say that a lot. Oh, I did this, like maybe I can't do that. Well, if you don't do it, you certainly won't be able to do it and you'll decline faster and faster. You'll get stiffer and stiffer. And the number one thing you lose as you get older is mobility and range of motion. So it's more important than strength. It's more important than cardio, fucking range of motion. That means being able to stand up, being able to fucking move, being able to get off the toilet, being able to reach and grab something in the back seat, being able to bend and pick something up. Like this is fucking legit. These are serious things that you might not care about it now if you're 30. You're not going to care about it necessarily when you're 40 or 50. But I'm telling you, once you start getting 30s, 40s, 50s, all those things that have kind of like chipped away, all those little minor injuries, they start to come back if you're not working at them regularly. So everyone that asks me, how old are you? I'm going to be 36 like in a couple months. Okay? I look better than a lot of people that are a fraction of my age. It's not about looking better, but I'm going to be the best that I can be at every age. I want to be that older guy that's just in fucking great shape. I don't want to be stiff and hobbling around. That's why strength training after a while is like, it's important, but you got to fucking temper that shit. It's not about how much you max and bench and all that stuff. That's a fucking joke. All those people are going to be fucked up when they're older. It's not a good look. It's not a good direction. We're doing Q&A tomorrow if you want to make sure you turn on post notifications. I'm not going to get into those questions, but tomorrow we will. I'm 33. I'm 30. Yeah. Well, a lot of these issues just come from you're active when you're younger and then you stop being active. But that's when you have to keep being active, because if you're active when you're younger, you're putting your body through the ringer. You're subjecting yourself to all these fucking things. Yoga mats, some are thicker than others. Why? Because different people like different things. I don't like thick yoga mats. Puts too much pressure on your wrists and it makes it more unstable. But some people have bad knees, and when you're kneeling on those, it might feel better. You can always take your mat and roll it up or get a towel or a pillow. Yeah, that's why yoga blocks exist too. Yoga blocks are great. Straps are great. Good shit. Good fucking shit. 34 and still dunking out here. Hell yeah. Slamma-jamma. Well, thank you, fam. Thank you, everyone, for joining me for episode 1079. Tomorrow, we're going to be hammering away. We're going to do that Sunday Fun Day Game of Thrones Day Q&A. So we'll be doing a lot of questions. So a lot of these questions that are going unanswered right now, tomorrow is the time for that. So when I go live, turn on your notifications. Make sure you get that notification. And then we'll go through as many questions live as possible. For those of you that are interested in checking out everything we have to offer inside Swolenormous X, including the full fucking yoga studio, corrective exercises, mobility, all of it. Programs, training, masterclasses, another nutrition masterclass coming this week with new releases. Ironically enough, a complete shoulder corrective exercise activation protocol is coming this month. It's April. Like, a lot of stuff is fucking coming. We're doing new stuff every single month, and all of that is accessible, mobile devices everywhere. So if you're interested, without further ado, you can check out swolenormousx.com. It explains it better than I can right now. But if you have any questions, you could use the live chat feature on the site, ask a question, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Everything, and it's constantly updated. So join the family, get access to all that like we talked about. And tomorrow, I'll take more questions, of course, as many live as I can. So if you have things that didn't get answered, make sure you show up and turn on your post notifications tomorrow. That way I can get to as many as possible. At swolenormousx.com, you can also check out the link to subscribe to the podcast wherever you like to listen. That way you can always catch it, even if you can't catch me live. And Swolenormous everywhere. Every single platform that you can ever like to use. Papa Swoliosis. Papa Swolio will be there. So thank you, everyone, for joining me for the most muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, Gamecast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Seizecast, and Slaycast in the realm. 1079. Because when I flex, you flex. We all flex our biceps. I'll see you tomorrow for 1080 of the Daily Swole. Peace, McGee's fam. Deuce Magoose. Your boy, Papa Swolio. Out.